Inside each one of us sits an indestructible soul. Our soul holds all truth and was placed there by our Creator, by design and with intention. The hardwired truth is that we are loved unconditionally and created for a unique purpose. We also have an enemy who works relentlessly to blind us from knowing the truth. He does not want us to discover what lies hidden inside. IDKY is produced with the goal of revealing fascinating humans who represent an illuminated presence. The hope is that as we, the audience, open our minds and hearts to the witness of authentic people, our own lives will be enriched. Keeping a curious consciousness of I don't know yet is like opening the door that will increase acceptance and love and bring forth healthier relationships to greater unity. We're back with William Wishbone from Nashville, Indiana, and in the old Bartley house. And we've been telling stories, and we're going to wrap it up with part 4 today. So we have a few more questions for William to answer. And so I'll just go ahead and get started. William, a few weeks ago, Colin, who's my editor, and William came to me with 2 messages at 2 different times. And it was this message of that when I started watching William in town, I created this story through my own opinion and biases and all of that. And it wasn't anything close to the real William. And so I was kind of expressing this to them, and William had an amazing insight to me that I thought it spoke to my heart, and I think that it would be good for him to explain it to you to see if you can glean from it.
Yeah, I mean, the idea that the opinions that we have, like, you said that you spend a lot of time people watching, and I think in a way opinions and judgments and things like that, it's kind of like I was saying, holding on to an idol or something. It is a form of entertainment that very quickly becomes zealotry. And when the world does not conform to our own private lens of entertainment, it's jarring and shocking. And the things that we think about the world come from the authority that we have as masters of our own experience. But even that is limited in the scope of, all the things that are capable of being accomplished in the course of a single lifetime. Some people can have opinions, but a lot of people's opinions have them. And you have to be willing to, let go of some things, be willing to be free-flowing and augment, and not let your opinions dictate how you see things and see the world. Because if every time you come up against something that does not conform with your expectations, you cut and run or shut down or blow up or whatever, that's not a fantastic way of going about life with people.
It's not a good way to win friends and influence people.
Precisely, yeah.
I have another question that I want to throw out at you. Do you do social media?
Not really, no.
Have you ever?
I used to a few years ago, and probably about 4 or 5 years ago now, I deleted my Facebook. I got off of everything. It was just such a circus.
Yeah.
It's enough bad energy on a daily basis as it is without, piping concentrated inadequacy into your brain.
Yeah. Okay, what else would you like to share with the audience? What have you learned? What, through your experiences, through your desire to educate yourself, through your creativity, what would you like to share with the audience that you think would be valuable for them?
Expect the unexpected and get comfortable with the uncomfortable. Life happens outside your comfort zone, and that in turn means life is always going to be more chaotic than you want it to be. So prepare for, what is it they say in motorcyclist circles, prepare for the skid, not the ride. I mean, there's a lot to be said about, studying psychology and chaos theory and all kinds of stuff, chess moves, just to prepare for the gambits of the world, but you don't know. You don't know. And, you don't know other people until you really take an opportunity to take a chance with them. And then further, regrettably, no matter how far you take that chance to its extremes, you never actually fully, entirely, and completely know anyone.
Mm-mm. Right.
Yeah, the world is yours and it ain't all about you.
Yes.
You are God, and yet God is in other people. If you can learn to comfortably hold two conflicting realities at once, nothing within either of them or between them or outside of them can jostle you. So get weird with it, get comfortable with chaos, and make a friend.
Oh, I love it. One of the things, as you were saying that popped in my mind is that a lot of our struggles, I don't know if most, but a lot of our struggles in life are a resistance to reality, to accepting what is real. That this is like, if someone is grieving, the grieving will be moved to healing when they stop trying to deny that really happened.
Right.
When they just accept, and that it's a process. It takes a long time to get there. But I think that as human beings, we have a lot of emotions and struggles because of what we resist that is really true.
Yeah.
And I think that we've kind of you've touched on that several times here.
And, just another point on something like you were saying about a person grieving, and not being able to begin the healing process until you get past being in denial. If a third party approaches a grieving person and, do whatever you want to say about how inappropriate dark humor may be, if you're able to cut through the grief with a joke or a personal, relevant punchline, it brings that person almost involuntarily to a very large step closer toward being healed.
Right.
And, if you can take any opportunity to make fun of things, again, holding things as being sacred and beyond criticism or beyond being able to be made fun of.
Right.
That gives it a position of power that cannot be shaken from. Anything needs to be brought down through humility.
It has to be okay to talk about it.
Yeah.
And I have a dear friend that's grieving now, and she uses humor. And it's fascinating to watch her because it's always been a part of her life and her husband's. And now I do see that as a healing agent.
Right.
Because it's real, it's raw, and it's personal. And it also keeps the deceased person relevant.
Yeah.
If you're using them in the joke or whatever, then that becomes interactive, and that to me is a sweet spot of saying they're just, you just can't see them, but
it brings light to the memory of their life rather than keeping them shrouded in mourning and grieving. Because that's, to me, that's the worst thing. I mean, they say that the human being experiences two deaths. There's the physical death, and then there's the spiritual death when no one any longer mentions your name. And I think nothing brings a person closer to that secondary death than, not being talked about, not being laughed about, not having those stories and those memories continue to live on and share those little bits of experience with people that might need to hear it.
And for so many generations, probably since the wars, we haven't talked about it.
Yeah.
We've shut it down, hide it.
Yeah.
And now look at where we are.
Yeah.
With the mental health crisis that we're in.
Yeah.
Nobody really knowing who they are, where they came from, because
I think
nobody
that
talked about it.
I mean, and in as much about talking about it is the problem, I think that there's also a semantic language issue with our mental health crisis, because it's not a mental health crisis. We don't have a sudden overwhelming portion of the population that don't need to be on antidepressants anymore. It's a crisis of health. It's a mental illness crisis.
Yes.
You need to break down the stigma around saying the word illness, because people aren't healthy.
Right.
They're ill.
Yeah.
But it's not fashionable to talk about ill people.
Right.
Because they might have the plague.
Yes, Dr. Daniel Amen, who has been studying this, he wants to rename it brain health. Like we do heart health, and now the medical establishment is finding out all this information through the technology that they can measure. So now it's becoming measurable, and I think that there's going to be better traction in changing that, taking that stigma away to what that is, and putting a name to it, and say, yeah, there's some real problems here that can be healed. Right? They can be treated and they can be healed, and that's that makes me happy.
But making an approach towards a world that is willing to heal itself, again, it first comes with the shadow work of shrugging off the shackles of living in a punishment-oriented world. That is the mode and foundation and model of everything that we exist within, is that everything is kept behind a particular line. And you can flourish or you can starve. And every bit of consideration, for other people, is like, how many times you hear stories about people just, setting up an impromptu soup kitchen in the park to feed the homeless, and then they, get shut down by police officers in riot gear. Like, sorry, you don't get to eat. You have to stay on that side of the line. And anytime that people make attempts to bridge that gap in humanity and treat humankind with human kindness, human unkind comes in and puts the line back in position. We continue to hold up this idea of a punishment-oriented world because going along with that system keeps us from being on the naughty list, as it were. You just keep the status quo going and don't question it. But if we're actually going to work towards a healing-centered world, it comes with doing away with the old in its entirety. There's nothing to be salvaged from it. And destroying a world that is entirely based on punishment is within our right to do so. Is there nothing more caring than that? Is there nothing more responsible than that? Is there nothing that is more keeping of one's brethren than being able to be intellectually honest and have imagination enough to say that we can do better, and have the callousness enough to say, this is a line, this is unacceptable, and we aren't going to take this because we have a greater dignity than that.
I believe that's the great escape plan.
Right.
That is happening.
It's the inner revolution, and along with that, have faith in yourself. It cannot be overstated, and it's not just a goofy cliche. Like, if people can believe in some of the crazy things that they believe, you're here, you're tangible, you're concrete, you have ideas, feelings, beliefs, experiences. Believe that. Like, that is worth celebration and heralding in its own right as being an authority. Like, who else could tell your story? Who else could be you? Nobody. You are the universe's one miraculous chance to do that. So do that. And have faith in that. Have more faith in that than all of the things that are trying to co-opt the power of your belief and subjugate you into a world of enslavement. You're better than that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No need for apology.
I don't know what's showing. Is it my contempt or my love?
Well, I believe all the answers are inside of us. And everything that you just said really resonated. So, do you have anything more you want to say?
I think I have covered my squares for the moment. If you get me going, I'll be here another 8 hours.
I got time. No, I'm just kidding.
Soapbox never ends.
You know that I don't turn down invitations.
Right, of course. I understand this, yes.
Okay, so then we'll end on one last question. My husband and I were waiting for a table at the out of the ordinary. They had a full crowd. a couple Fridays ago, and here we're standing outside, and here comes William walking down the street with a board game tucked under his arm. So, what was the board game, and where were you going?
Okay, so the board game is it's the oldest. Well, I believe it's one of the oldest board games in the world. It is called Senet, Senet. It is ancient Egyptian in origin.
Okay.
And I've been going down to the Friday night local lives at the Daily Grind,
Yes.
and one of the owners there, Taylor, he
Yeah.
and I have kind of fallen into a habit of playing.
Taylor and his wife Brittany own the Daily Grind now.
Yeah.
They're doing a fabulous job.
Phenomenal job. They're wonderful people. But Taylor and I, we've gotten to play a few games, and so I was bringing my board down so
Yeah.
we could take in a game.
That's awesome. Friday night, Nashville, Indiana, going listening to live music at a coffee shop playing board games. Who's not interested in doing something like that? That sounds so fun. I was there earlier in the evening. I enjoyed the music.
Oh, yeah.
Then my husband had come in town, so we were grabbing dinner. So I hope they keep doing it.
I do
think
too.
that'll be super fun.
I'm glad they're bringing it back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me too. Is there anything else you'd like to share? Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being brave and bold and sharing your wisdom with us and all that you know. And I've loved learning from you, and I know that it's going to continue because I'll be stalking you, looking for opportunities. Maybe is a better way.
At least coming in for coffee.
At least coming in for coffee. Oh, and thank you for the molasses grapefruit cookie.
Oh,
right?
yes.
Is that right?
Yes. Molasses
Okay, yeah, I
grapefruit.
go in last week and he had he bakes too.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because I'm not a big fan of molasses cookies, but what the grapefruit did to it, it made it cakier. It was lighter to me. Sometimes those cookies are a little heavy.
Right.
And I really enjoyed it.
Well, it's got ginger in there as well.
Yeah.
So like that and the grapefruit, it's almost like a wasabi thing. It's not like a spice, but
it was
there's
very
a
unique.
upper piquant kind of
Yeah.
thing. It's not as like deep with the molasses flavor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
You're very welcome.
Appreciate it. Thank you for joining us. Stay blessed, y'all.